Alright, well, I'm coaching Lissandra. He's a little bit late to lane. He had problems and it seems like he did not connect initially, so... what he would have wanted to do... That was good, he got the minions. What you would generally want to do if you were here from the beginning is you would want to poke early against the Garen. You'd want to push for level 2 and you would want to go ahead and get your poke. You're a little too close to him. Honestly, if you DC at the beginning of the game, you need to wait until he pushes it. He should be freezing the lane and he's not. So you need to just back off and let him push it to the tower and try to take the minions. CSing under tower, you hit it once, then the tower hits it, and then you hit it once. So yeah, poke him. You're ranged and he's not. Don't let him get near a minion without poking him. You want to focus mainly on CSing because you are behind. That was good. That's the kind of poke you want to do. If you can time it to prevent him from getting a cannon, that's great, which you did. Don't be afraid to use your abilities to get CS. It's really important. You were a little bit out of position there. A better Garen would have just jumped on top of you right away. Go ahead, get it, yep. And there you would have wanted to use an ability. At this point in the lane, you just need to catch up, so you should be using your abilities mostly to get CS. That's really important right now for you to catch up in this lane. And you have a significant amount of mana, so don't be afraid to use your mana to CS. You don't want to rely solely on it, but if it's going to be the difference between you getting one and not getting one, you need to get it. Especially in this situation when you're behind. And good, so now you have him at, I don't know, what, 30% health? And you're positioning better, so this is good. This is where you should be against a higher level, well, not a high level opponent. An opponent in which you have, an opponent which you have an advantage on. So that's how the lane should have played out from the beginning. I'm gonna go back and see if this could have been done a little more cleanly. My only concern about this is that you engage into a cannon minion. So if you had auto-attacked him, they would have all turned and focused you. So just be careful when you're doing things like that. You don't want to take too much minion aggro. You did a great job getting him out of lane though. Just make sure that you're always counting minions and checking where you are in terms of positioning in respect to them. Alright, so now that you have kind of the upper hand a little bit in terms of your play versus his, you are still behind in terms of your CS, so you do need to respect that. But you want to go ahead, you want to use your abilities, just hard shove this lane. Use every ability you have, yep. And now you want to go back. So that's good. That's good that you did that. This is one of the reasons that Lissandra is so strong out of top lane, is she has the ability to poke many melee bruisers, especially ones without sustain. Alright. This is fine. This is a good build starting out. Alright, now back up. Yep, you want to kite the minions back into you. Did you have your? You didn't have your W up at that point. You don't want to get into melee range of Garen unless you have W up. So keep that in mind, and you don't have to reactivate the hand. I know that you used it to CS, but you don't have to reactivate it. So you could have just used it and then not gone to it. Good. So under tower, what you want to do, you don't run from him, poke him, kite him back. You're ranged and he's not. So kite him back. You have level 6 now, so if he does jump on you, it's fine, you can just ult him. You want to W him when as soon as he gets in range, though. You don't want to let him get his silence off on you. Cut him back into your minions? Okay. You should have just turned and autoed him. You could have killed him. It's unfortunate that you died, but you definitely could have killed him. Let's see if I can go back and look at it a little bit more cleanly. And then we'll come back. Alright, so... Is this too far back? Okay, so you want to kite here. So you'd move back, auto, move back, Q, move back, auto, and you'd probably have him another 200 health off of him at that point. And again, you got into melee range of him. That was just a positioning mistake. So you were doing the right thing by attacking him, but you don't want to be in melee range. Here also, okay. Watch what happens here. Okay, so you lose health there, right? And you didn't kite him back. So he should have about 200 health less, and you should have more health. Here, you want to try to avoid attacking into his minions. This poke was fine in this situation, but again, you got into melee range of him. You never want to let him in melee range. If he's hitting you with his sword when he's spinning, you're too close to him. You have a huge range advantage on him. So freeze him, go back a step, and then start autoing him, because he wouldn't have done all this damage to you that whole time. And then here, again, it was just, if you had done that kiting earlier and gotten that extra 200 health off, he would have died and you would have lived. And at this point, you're going to die. There's really no way for you to avoid dying. So what I would suggest is, at this point, you have all of your abilities off of cooldown. Well, you have your Q off of cooldown. I would go ahead and I would have turned around and just killed him. Because you would have gotten him, if you didn't kill him, then your minions would have killed him. See how low he got? So either way, there were several things in that fight that you could have done differently to win that trade out. Alright, so let's see, you're getting back to lane. I fast forwarded a little bit since I paused it for so long. Alright, let's see what you picked up. You didn't really pick up anything. You picked up a ward. There's a lot of good items on Lissandra. There is Morello's is really, really good on her. They don't have a lot of sustain though, so that shouldn't necessarily be your first pickup. Zhonya's is really good on her, especially on AD heavy teams. You're getting a little bit scared here. So again, you want to be kiting back, so you want to auto, back, auto, and then you're just getting a little bit too close to him. There's no problem, especially as aggressive as he is being, with letting this push to your tower. You actually ideally want to freeze your tower right here. That's ideally where you want it to be in terms of your positioning. He can't harass you under tower because he's ranged. So if you have it here, then there's really nothing that he can do to you without forfeiting a good portion of his life. And you don't want to be using your W. Your W is your main defense if he gets into range of you. So you don't want to be using it to clear minions. You easily could have just farmed them either with your Q or with your auto attacks. You have a ward and you haven't placed it yet, and Shaco's in your top jungle. You don't know that, but just the lack of a ward. That was much better. So that's what you want to be doing. You want to do that, and then instead of running all the way away, you want to freeze, back, Q, auto, auto, or auto, Q, auto. Oh, that was nice of Bard. He came and left you a health pack. Alright, in this situation, when he went back, you want to go ahead and you want to shove your lane. And you want to shove it hard. So since you're against Garen, and I mean they have a Varus and you have a Shaco, or they have a Shaco, I would go ahead and I'd start by building your Seekers. It'll help significantly against Garen if he does get on top of you. In addition, it'll just help you build your Zonias faster. I would have warded. You haven't used your trinket all game, and you have a green ward that you haven't used, so that's definitely something. Okay, so no, you're okay. So freeze. And then you want to kite. Alright, you didn't really have kill potential there, so I wouldn't have done that if I were you. Go ahead and pick up the health. Pick up the health. Pick up the health. Freeze him, freeze him, freeze him, freeze him, freeze him! Was your freeze on cooldown? Alright, so aside from you going through the wall, that's interesting. Oh, so your your W was on cooldown, but your Q wasn't. If you had Q'd or E'd, then you would have killed him and you would have still lived. So it's a lot about not panicking in those situations. You had an advantage where he chased you and you went around here. You could have easily just went ahead and Q'd him and he would have died and you would have lived. I'd still like to see you wait to use your ult until you have kill potential. You also should be letting your team know that you have your TP up so that they can drag in at some point. Especially since he went ahead and he took TP instead of, I mean he took Ignite instead of TP. You really want to be pressuring other lanes. Once he gets too tanky for you to kill, then you want to actually save your ult. And you want to use your ult for other lanes. Freeze him right here. No, auto attack him. Okay, I would have let him walk a little bit more into your minions. And frozen him because he would have taken a lot more damage just because you had a huge wave there and he never should have fought into that. But again, auto him. Auto, backup, Q, W. Yeah. Exactly. Kind of like that, but you want to be doing it more often. You don't need to be as intimidated as you are. He does have 2 levels up on you. But you have a lot of range on him, so you should be winning this matchup. And I know that you DC'd, so that's part of it. But you just also need to be making sure that you're poking him. Again, in this situation, you can auto, you can... Look how much mana you have. So you want to think of mana as an expendable resource, right? It comes back, alright? CS doesn't come back. And so you want to be using it for... CSing if you need to, which you've been doing pretty well. But you also want to be using it to trade your mana for his health, because he doesn't have mana, right? He's just cooldown gated. So what you want to do is you actually want to trade that resource for his health. And you're not even going close to I don't think I've seen you close to all game. Go ahead, you want to stop his back. Oh, you got it, barely. Yeah, I wouldn't have backed off from that. I mean, he had no health. You could have killed him without Warwick's health, to be honest with you. Especially since your ult was off cooldown. But if you ever see someone in that situation, you don't want to go too hard because you will scare them back. But you do want to make sure that you get them. So I would have queued and then immediately used your E to go in on him. Right, and you saw this happening and you responded. Oh, it looked like you knew exactly which one was the clone, so that's good. Alright, so let's look back. Let's see. I want to see exactly how much vision you had. Alright, so you guys didn't have any vision. Okay, so here's what you do know, okay? In this situation right here. You do know, and let's turn on your fog of war. You're red. Okay, let me get my pen out. Maybe if it comes. Here it goes. Alright. So what you do know is that this fight is happening here, right? Your position is here. And this is all the vision you have. Your teammates are down here. That's it. That's all you know. All you know is what's happening right in this box and what's down here. The other thing that you know is that Garen went back a good bit of time ago. You should be able to estimate that he's... How long ago did you kill him? He's probably... I think he's about here-ish. Either way, you know that he's at least in this range between these two towers. You also know that there's a TF on the enemy team and that he's not in his lane. You don't know where he is, but you know that he's not there, right? Alright, so given that situation, chasing into a fog of war where you have no vision, this is all controlled by the enemy. You have no idea what's going on. All you know is this. You need to assume that there are 5 people here. That's just the safest way for you to accomplish anything. It's just to have the benefit of the doubt and the mindset that there's a good possibility that... Oh, Garen is there. That there's several people over here. The other thing that you could do is, you do have your trinket up. You could have put your trinket right here, and that would have actually protected against Garen, but it wouldn't have helped with the TF. You need to always factor in the TF, always, 100% of the time. So that death was easily avoidable, and you just got a little bit greedy. But, I mean, it is a very good key knowledge indicator that you knew which clone was Shaco. So that death was definitely avoidable. Alright, so you're back to lane. I'm assuming you TP'd there. Is your TP down? Yeah, it is. You TP'd there. Okay. Alright, so now what you want to do is you want to tell your team that your TP is down. Your Warwick has TP. Alright. And you can be poking him this whole time. So when he was here and you're back, just keep throwing Qs at him, keep auto-attacking him. And then you do that if he gets too close. See, he never even got to you. But you just want to make sure that you're autoing too. Don't use just your skills. You still do a good bit of damage with your auto attacks. You have 71 AD. That's nothing to like gawk at. I mean, it's definitely something that you can still do quite a bit of damage, and a lot of times it will mean the difference between you winning or losing a trade. Again, you just want to poke him. So right now he has 102. You're not doing terribly in terms of CS considering that you were so late. You do need to improve your CS significantly though. You should have about 200 by 20 minutes is what you should be aiming for. You should have 100 by 10 minutes. Well, 100 is perfect. Let's be realistic. 100 is perfect. You should aim to get between 85 and 90 in lane. Alright, that's... Again, you have your trinket up and you don't have your river warded. You haven't been warding anything. Every time you go back, you should want to come back with a ward and some pots. This is not an optimal build on her, especially against the Garen. I would have gone ahead and started your Zhonya's actually. Oops. Let's go back, sorry. Alright, so let's see what happens here. Freeze. Okay, back up. Alright, I would have used you had claw up, so I would have gone ahead and used that to get out of that situation. And that, again, was just, you were just a little bit too close to him, so even when you froze him, he was still able to get... you wouldn't be able to... He wouldn't have been able to silence you if you were just a little bit farther away when you hit your W. And if you had gotten your Seeker's Arm Guard, like I was talking about a little bit ago, he wouldn't have been able to do nearly as much damage to you, and you would have been able to get out of that. So part of the problem that you're running into right now is that you're against the Garen and you just don't have any armor. And Roa does give you some defensive stats, so it gives you the health, and it does give you a little bit whenever you level, it gives you a boost in your health and mana. But unfortunately against Garen, it's just not going to be enough. You really need to balance your resistances and your health. And right now all you have is health. So all of his AD is essentially doing true damage to you because you don't have any armor, except for the little bit of armor that you have from your runes and masteries. If you had farmed better, then, and I know that we talked a little bit about that, you said that you had trouble CSing, but if you use that document that I gave you and you practice it, by now you could easily have had Zhonya's. You could have definitely survived that Garen using that too. So you just want to focus on, your goal should be about 85 to 90 at 10 minutes, and then by now, yeah, by now you easily could have had your full Zhonya's, which would give you a huge power spike. Alright, that was good focus. You went ahead and got Varus. That was a really good situation. And you also landed your ult in the middle of their entire team, so that did a ton of damage. Again, this is where you might be having problems with the fact that you don't have enough farm to get your items, because if they had all 5 people there, they probably could have targeted you down pretty easily. And if you had Zhonya's, you would have been able to ult, and then you would have been ult him, and then you would have been able to Zhonya's yourself. Alright, when you're against the Garen, I know this sounds weird. If you look at their team, okay, they have quite a bit of magic damage on them. TF does a lot of magic damage. You're against a Vel'Koz support, which actually is pretty damage reliant, and he already has a Zhonya's. And Garen's ultimate actually does magic damage. So what you could do after you get Zhonya's is you could actually go ahead and get an Abyssal Scepter. And what it will do is it gives you the reduced magic resist of the enemy team. So when you go into their entire team and you ult like you just did, you'll be doing more damage overall. And in addition to that, oh, they're coming for you. Huh, that was... Okay, sorry, I got distracted. But it also gives you, sorry, the Abyssal Scepter also gives you the magic resist for Garen's ultimate, so you'd actually be able to lane against him better. Let's go back and look at this. This was a good kill for you. I would have been a little bit more aware of your surroundings, and again, if you were warding, like I talked about earlier, then you would have known that the Shaco was coming. You did good getting the kill, though. I wouldn't have wasted flash. You were dead. There was no situation that you were going to... Nothing could have happened that you would have gotten out of that alive. Alright, so yeah, definitely warding is something you can work on, but that's a really easy fix. And buying a pink is always a really good investment too. A lot of times people don't check it. Think of how rarely you're warding. Garen's been warding just as rarely, so if you would have got a pink in this bush, no one would have ever seen it. Alright, you took a little bit long to buy there. You went ahead and you got your needless. Right now you're pretty... Alright, good. It's good that you got a kill. I would go ahead. Your trinket's still off a cooldown. I would have gone ahead and put your trinket here just because you don't know if someone's coming. Then you would have seen TF coming right here if you had put the ward down there first. Okay, good. You got the dragon. Alright, back to your build. Sorry, we got distracted because you went and got dragon, which was good. Back to your build. You can't... When you go something like this, you don't have your tier 2 boots yet. That really needs to be a priority. Mobility is so important in this game. What you should be doing is you should be getting your boots first, and then I would go ahead and I'd start... See what their items are and how they're doing. 8 and 4. I honestly, if it was me, I would have gone and gotten your arm guard first, just so that you were able to sustain some of this damage that they're putting out. Or not sustain, but mitigate some of the damage that they're putting out. As far as, it didn't seem like you were very aware of what was happening here. You definitely could have saved him. So pay a lot of attention to what's going on with your team, and that's just an awareness thing. The other thing you want to do is you want to, if you're running teleport, you want to pick up the distortion boots pretty early on. Just because, or the distortion upgrade on your boots, just because it allows a huge decrease in your TP cooldown, which is really, really important. Let's see exactly who killed you there. Okay. Alright, so that was just a lack of defense at that point. So building properly would help mitigate a lot of that. You also want to just know your opponent's abilities, so walking like that into a Varus is a very dangerous thing to do when he has ultimates up, so... Okay, so at this point you shouldn't be going mid. There's nothing really for you to do here. They've already taken mid tower and you have this huge wave up top. There's no reason for you not to go farm that. A lot of low level games turn into ARAMs as soon as laning's over, and you really need to train yourself to get away from that. So this tower is going to eat this huge amount of XP and gold. And this tower's not even up. There was literally nothing to do in mid lane, and you didn't get any of the farm for it. You ended up getting a pick, but oh, do you guys even kill him? But that is more a mistake on Shaco than it is a good play on yours, because Shaco should never have been wandering through your jungle like that. So, your tower just ate, I really want to say like 15, 20 minions. And now your support's going to get it. A support that does no DPS, by the way. Like, he doesn't give any stats at all in terms of your fight. So, yeah, you really want to be making sure that you focus that. CS is an objective. You turn this into an objective, but it shouldn't have been. That was a mistake on Shaco's part. So don't take somebody else's mistake as an indication that you did something properly, because there'll be a time when they don't make the same mistake and you'll be behind because of it. Okay, getting into melee range of them was really dangerous, but you got away with it. And just ping your team back. And just make sure you're comfortable with the range of your skills, because your W didn't hit anybody. It wasn't even close. Alright, so now that you're here, you want to just take the CS and you want to leave. You want to immediately leave. Just Q the whole wave. Q, use your arm, your little claw thing, and just take the whole wave. But see all the CS, this was your lane, this was all your CS, you've probably missed, I don't even think I'm exaggerating when I say I think you missed probably 40 or 50 CS in top lane. And although you got a tower out of it, it wasn't efficient. It was pretty much a waste of time. And if Shaco hadn't screwed up in your jungle, then you wouldn't have gotten the tower or those couple kills from it. So you want to spend all of your time going and making gold. One key to use when you're using Zhonya's is you don't necessarily want to use it when you're about to die. You want to use it to mitigate the most damage that you can. So if they're going to use a huge skill, then you want to use it before that. Like if you think that if Annie's about to ult, like if she flashes in and you think that Annie's going to ult, then that would be a good time to use it. But when you use it in this situation up here, you could have easily gotten out and they didn't really have a ton of DPS to throw on you, but putting yourself in stasis like that actually created a situation where you almost suicided because they were able to collapse on you. Did Garen just DC? That was a much better Zhonya's. You still died, but it was a much better Zhonya's. Alright, so as far as your TP, I would watch some high-level streamers or even LCS to see how and when to use TP effectively. You're not really getting anything out of it. You used it once to get to lane. You did use it once to get down to a fight in Dragon, but that was the only time I saw you use it effectively. So pretty much what you want to be doing with it is you want to be pressuring a lane and then using your TP to rejoin with your team. So you want to use it as just a way to keep pressure wherever you want it to almost split push to an extent, and then be able to get your team back with your team. So in this situation, you'd want to be clearing all of these top minions again. That's a good like 20 minions that you lost. And so wherever your next objective is going to be, you want to be splitting the opposite. So if you guys already just took dragon, and there's, I think there's like another 4 minutes on dragon, then what you'd actually want to do, if your next objective is probably, I would say they'd probably go ahead and push bot just because you guys had a huge wave there, you would have wanted to pressure top, and that way when you pressure top, it would draw somebody up there and you could TP and you guys could all take bot as a team. If you guys thought that Baron was going to be your next objective, Alright, that was a pretty poor engage. You didn't have any of your team there, and you dove into their team. So you guys decided to fight a 2v4. So just because you can engage does not mean that you should, and learning how to engage well is a really, really good way to gain elo. But as I was saying, if you think that Baron's going to be your next objective, you actually want to be splitting bot and shoving that, and you want to TP back to your team. So I'm not really sure. I think you were just trying to pick up the kill, but in this situation where you obviously have Clop because you use it, you should have just used it to go over this wall and save yourself and rejoin with your team. Shaka was pretty low. The likelihood that they were going to do Baron was very, very low. So essentially what this Warwick is doing is what you should have been doing, where he was pressuring. Of course, now he's not the way he's doing it, though, because you're actually losing you guys' objectives, but you want to have the same idea where you're going to push a lane and then TP. Alright, let's see what you're buying now. You got your Zonies, which is good. Blasting one, I'm not sure what you're building into. I would have really liked to see you pick up an Abyssal Scepter. But I guess we'll have to see what you're building it into. Alright, so if I were you, yeah, in this situation, you guys need to decide where your next objective is and just communicate with your team and just tell them, everybody go here, I'm gonna go here. And this is just another reason that distortion beats are really good. It lowers your cooldown of TP and flash by 20%, so you could be splitting more and still be there for all of your team engagements. I honestly I don't think I've seen you use Trinket more than once this game, so that needs to be a major focus for you. You also should have upgraded it by now. Just because it will give you, it's almost like a mini sight stone. And right now your bard doesn't have sights. Oh, your bard is building damage. So yeah, you can't rely on your teammates to be warding. Okay, so see, this is what happens when you draw away attention. That was a wasted ult. You didn't need to do that. He had no way of killing you. It would have been better used there. You had already backed off and he was leaving. He was scared. So you could have saved that ult for that situation. And you also had Zonia's up and you didn't use it. That Shaco got awfully greedy for that. Alright. The other thing you can do if you're not comfortable using teleport, you can always take, especially on someone like Lissandra, you can just take Ignite, and you could have won some of the early engages with Garen. If you had played them out a little bit better and had Ignite, you could have got some kills in lane. In this situation, I mean, you have teleport, Warwick has teleport. You should just be splitting this entire game. You need to be here for this dragon, though. You should definitely TP into that. You were not going to lose tower. So if you were here, you could have helped turn that fight around quite a bit. Graves would have been better off just backing over here. And see, you TP'd here. That was just really ineffective. You can't defend this tower 1v3 anyways. They can just take it from you. So it was a waste of a TP, and it was kind of a waste of those kills there at Dragon. Yeah, you're dead. So 1-for-1 in tower is never worth it, unless you're the one getting a tower. So yeah, I would practice using your TP. Watch some high-level streams, watch LCS, anything where they are using it consistently. And until then, I would use the rule of thumb that you want to be pressuring the opposite side of the map of whatever objective you want to take, and you want to make sure you TP immediately if your team gets in a fight. Because otherwise you're putting them in a situation where they're 4v5, and that's not really fair to them. You also need to make sure that you're taking all of your minions. These are yours by right, and you've lost a significant amount of farm by just letting somebody else take it, because and not because they were there fighting for it, just because you didn't respond to it. So yeah, 40 minutes, you should have like 350 CS, maybe 400 if you're really good. And imagine how much damage you would do with 400 CS. Alright, again, there's nothing for you to do mid lane. There's just nothing for you to do here. So always think, like, what are you doing and why are you doing it? Alright, so go ahead and shove. You want to shove this quickly, and you want to get back. Your team, although they just won that engagement, oh man, they did just get a kill, but again, your bot, and being bot is like the key indicator for someone to start Baron. So right now, while they're all fighting here, just you need to shove that lane as hard as you absolutely can while that was happening, not slow push it. And your TP's not up yet. So ideally what you'd want to do is, if you did not use TP at Dragon, if you didn't use it at Dragon, then you wouldn't use it at that tower. And while they're all dancing here, you want to shove bot as hard as you can, like really, really hard. And then once they do that, and someone responds to you, then you want to TP and your team wants to take Baron. You still don't have distortion boots? So yeah, distortion boots would help you significantly. You would have had to, if you had distortion boots, you would have had TP back in time to shove this lane and then to respond to Baron. So this is a good situation for you guys to be in. Top is pushing, bot's pushing, mid is pushing, and you have TP up. So let them fight mid and go top and shove mid. And then if they decide to engage mid, then you go ahead and you TP to them, or you take this tower. So this you would want it to have been doing some time ago. And if you had done it earlier and properly, you could have gotten that tower, no questions asked. Zonies. You had Zonies up and didn't use that. You probably still would have died to TF, but you do want to get in the practice of using it. Take a little sticky note and put it on your monitor. Alright, but see how much damage you did to this tower? You got 50% of it. That's the whole idea behind going ahead and split pushing. Oh man. Oh man. I'm so sorry. Alright, so you want to do the same thing again. Your bot is slow pushing towards them. Vel'Koz has to go respond to that. You still have TP up, so you want to go ahead and you want to shove top, and you want your team to shove mid. And then either they can rotate to dragon and then you can join them, or you guys can keep shoving and try to knock this tower down since it's slowly regenning. That bard was pretty funny. Sorry. Alright. Well. Alright, so again, your team just got drag. Go put pressure on top. Or actually what you should do is send them top and you can go bot and shove, and then when somebody shows bot you can go ahead and you can TP to Baron. Alright, again, you're losing CS to a support that doesn't do any damage. So gold efficiency on Bard is probably about 25%. So every gold that he has, he needs 25 gold to have the same impact on the game that you need with 1 gold. So you want to make sure that you're taking that gold because it's really important. Wow. Alright. So it's all about making the right decisions. If you weren't, so you should have gone top instead of Bard, and you should have just pinged your team back because you want to go ahead and you want to push. Let me see what happened that fight because I didn't see how you died. And then I'll fast forward it again. Okay, he didn't. You got out. I think there was a time when you could have Zonya'd the Varus ult though. Must have been earlier. But yeah, that would be one of the key things that you want to go ahead and use Zonias on, is the Verisol. I didn't go back far enough, but there was a situation in which you could have avoided it and you wouldn't have been so low health. That was good. That was much better. It seems like when you feel comfortable in a situation, you're able to make some plays. So you do have some mechanical inclination that when you practice more, you'll be able to pull off some good plays. But honestly, your CS is really preventing you from being effective, and just the thought process and using your skills efficiently, like your Zonias and your ultimate and your TP, especially your TP. So you're only putting about half of the pressure on the map that you otherwise would have. So the only reason not to take Ignite in a lane is if you're going to put so much pressure on the map with TP that it's worth giving the opponent an advantage in lane. And the opposite is true. If you want to take Ignite instead of TP, you have to win lane really decisively, because whoever has TP has more of an influence over the map. Alright, so you're here. You guys are all here. And Shaco is split pushing. You have a huge wave bot. So again, you want one of you have two TPs. And you want to use that to go ahead and you want to pressure bot, or you want to respond to top, and then you want to be able to come back and join your team so that you can go ahead and make a difference and get an objective. You guys are 5v4. This game should have been over quite some time ago. Again, Shaka, the one with the buffs, is the real one. So you guys spent a little bit too long focusing the clone. Make sure your team always has wards up. Make sure you're putting wards around key areas. So that you can TP if you need to. Alright, Zonia's Verisol. That's their biggest form of CC. That was a good Zonia's too. Zonia's now. Oh, you barely made it out of that? Oh, I mean, yeah, okay, so you use Zonia's. Which is really good. Use it during the Vel'Koz ult. So you barely made it out, but if you had Zonia's the Varus ult, then you wouldn't have received so much damage by being stuck there, and you would have been able to, you wouldn't have had to come so close to dying. And then you can just use your E to escape from the... He ignited the clone. You can use the E to escape from the Vel'Koz ult. One of you needs to split and one of you needs to shove. There's actually, they have 3 people down. You guys should go ahead and you should just Baron. You have good focus there. You should be pinging for your team to go ahead and start Baron, which I think is what Warwick has done. But you want to be there. This is dangerous. Oh, you didn't even use it. Yeah, going around, you should have just kept going. That was dangerous. Plus, when you were going that way, you could have warded against Shaco. I'm not really sure where you're going now. You need to be here with your team. If you are going to split off of your team, you need to do that before they start the objective. So you got there way too late. You need to be more decisive. Either you're gonna join at the beginning or you're not gonna join at all. It was it was really late. But you did TP, you used it, which is really, really good. You just want to use it a little bit more effectively. And in this case, there's nothing to take mid, guys. Like, this is already gone. You guys should be taking bot. You have this huge minion wave here. You can go ahead and take tower. Oh, you guys are gonna end. Oh, awesome. The timers are really long because it's 60 minutes in. In a lot of situations, you would want to go ahead and you want to take this tower, but because it's so far in and the death timers are so long, you could take it easily. So that's good. You guys won. Congratulations. And I hope this is helpful. Let me grab you.
Hello?
Hey. How's it going?
It's going alright.
Okay. Are you a little frustrated because you started late?
No, I was frustrated because the team didn't cooperate until finally the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I recorded the whole game for you and left you a lot of commentary. Um, there were a lot of situations that you could have impacted differently. And I think that being able to see them will help you a lot. You didn't use TP effectively in most of the situations, so that will help you a lot. That will give you a lot more pressure and a lot more team presence, and you'll be able to make a bigger impact. Um, and then there was just some stuff in lane that you could have done a little bit better, and then your build. There were definitely some more optimal things that you could have done in your build, and all of those things would have contributed to you having a much easier game. So I'm gonna send you the replay. It's a 55-minute game, so I can't go over it all with you right now. But I'm gonna send you the replay for you to go ahead and watch, and then we can go over any questions that you have, or write down timestamps if there's things that you're not sure about, or if I didn't explain them properly. And then we can jump in a call again, and we can go over them uh, individually, so that if you have any questions about anything, then we can go over them. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I think this will help a lot because sometimes it's reassuring when you feel like your team's not cooperating. Sometimes it's reassuring to know that you have control over the game because there's things that you can improve. So don't take it as a negative. Just take the things that I was talking about in the video as at least you have things that you can improve on, and it's not just hoping for a better team every game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll send that to you. Like give it a few minutes so that it can save and all that, and I'll send it to you right away. Did you have any questions about the game or about anything really?
Mm, what did I do well?
Um, you had some really good combos actually. You had a kill on TF in top lane, which is really cool. So it looks like you have a lot of potential mechanically. A lot of the things that you need to work on your CSing. By 40 minutes, you could have been 6 itemed, and you only had about half of the CS that you should have had. And if you had been 6 items, you would have just destroyed everybody. And you had a lot of good combos. It looks like you need to work on your actives a little bit, but you had a couple good Zonias in there. Um, so I think that you have a lot of potential in terms of outplaying other people and making the champions do what you want them to do. But it's just, at this point, it's just a knowledge thing. And once you get that locked down, a lot of times it's the opposite. A lot of the times, the people that I help who are in bronze and having difficulties, they've they kind of know what they should be doing, but they can't make their hands do it. Like there's a disconnection between what they're thinking and what they actually do. And you have the capability of executing what you know you need to do. So now it's just figuring out what you need to do, and you'll be able to execute it pretty well. I'm really confident in that. So that's good. I mean, it's a lot harder when I'm teaching people that have serious mechanical problems because that's a lot harder to fix. That takes a lot more practice and time. So, but I think that if you fix those very like I mean they're major but they're minor things that I talk about in the video, like using your TP effectively and building appropriately for whoever you're against,
Hmm.
and your CSing, especially your CSing. If you fix those things, then you'll make huge strides and pretty immediately. So yeah, if you do those things, you'll be really good off, and then you can start working on refining all of those. But I think that's a really good start for you, and I think that you have a lot of talent with Lissandra, so you should keep playing her, and you can play her, especially since you can play her top or mid, or you can even play her support in bronze and silver if you wanted to. If you get stuck supporting, you can play her in that role too.
All
Uh,
right.
Yeah, so I think that you should play a lot more of her. She seems to be really good. Annie's another one because you already play her and she can be taken top, mid, or bot. She's another good one too, just because you can practice her and she'll fit into like every role. You have to play them each a little bit differently depending on the role that they're in, but they can each function well there. So you kind of kill like three birds with one stone. So yeah, do you feel confident on Lissandra or
Yeah,
okay?
because I used to say that I was gonna main her, but then like after that, I saw my friend playing Nidalee, and I started playing Nidalee,
Right.
and then
Is this your
after
challenger friend?
that, yeah,
Okay.
he told me I shouldn't play Nidalee because she's really high skill
Yeah.
cap, yeah, and she has a lot of mechanics that would be hard for me to learn.
Right. I mean that's kind of what you and I talked about at the beginning.
Yeah,
I would be inclined to agree with him, and it's not that you would be incapable of learning her, and it's not something that you should like be defensive about by any means. It's just if you put all the time and effort into learning her specifically, that's a lot of time and effort you're not putting into learning the game. And if you learn the game and the basics and the intricacies of that, then it'll make learning all those champions a lot easier. Because she's really high skill cap. Like I don't play Nidalee just because I don't have the time to devote to her to learning her well, and my focus is elsewhere right now. So you do have to make. I know I have a friend who's a Masters 1 support main who refuses to play Thresh because he feels it would take him too long to get to learn him, to play him at a Masters level. So he just plays other supports. So there's honestly nothing wrong at all with not playing someone like that. And if you want to play, like if you really like her and you don't want to take the time to really main Nidalee, then you can always just, you can, when you play normals, play in Italy or something like that. It will help you learn mechanics and things like that, but you can still, when you're ranking, play the champions that you're going to focus more on climbing with. So, and that way you can still have fun with them. Or, like I said, it's completely up to you. If you really want to main Italy and you really have a lot of fun with her and she's going to keep you interested in the game, then you can do that too. It will stunt your learning curve a little bit in terms of your grind and your climb out of bronze.
all
So,
right.
yep. I'm sorry, I know that's not really what you wanted to hear about Nidalee,
I
but
know it's fine. Like I already knew.
okay. But yeah, Lissandra's a lot of fun too, I think. So, I think that you were good with her, so I would recommend that you play her more or but yeah, like I said, you have a lot of potential, so I would not at all feel worried. I think you'll be fine. And go ahead and watch the video. If you have questions about things, then write down the timestamps and we'll go over it. That way I don't make you watch the whole hour-long video a couple times. And so we'll go over just whatever times you have concerns about or questions. And then practice those things again and we can go over another game another time where either you can have a replay. Normally, what I do if people have replays ahead of time, then I'll just actually screen share with them while they're in Skype so we can talk about what's going on and I can pause it and draw on the screen and show you what's going on and things like that. And then you actually get to talk about it, and if you have questions, we can address them right away and stuff like that, which is usually good for mid. Or if you ever, I know you said that you'd be interested in doing normals and going bot, we could do that too. But most of the things that I talked about in that game were general game knowledge that can be applied to any role, so I think it'll help you. All right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. And yeah, just message me anytime if you have any questions, okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Oh, you're so welcome. Let me know if you need anything, okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye. Hmm. Hey. Oh, nothing.
How'd your lesson go? How do you feel it went?
It went okay. One second.
Yeah?
Let me reset the stream so I can send him this video.
Mm-hmm.